Ta-da! Okay, something I've been doing by scratch lately, and only by scratch, from scratch, is making my own mayonnaise. Just one of those things that I don't want to buy at the grocery store anymore. I want to make it with my own ingredients, and I want to make it with my backyard eggs, and so start with the backyard egg, and I think that it's fine, and it's never been refrigerated, and I think that's perfectly healthy. If you want to start with a pasteurized egg, be my guest. And the USDA recommends against this because they say that you might get sick from doing it, but I think that some of the things that the USDA actually recommends might make you sick too. So I like to use this little jar. It's an old jam jar with a cute lid. Has a nice big opening because I make mayonnaise with my immersion blender, and it fits in here really nicely. I like to use Alton Brown's recipe, and except I use a whole egg. He calls for just the yolk, and I've seen some recipes that use just the yolk, but I choose to use the whole egg because why would I want to waste the rest of the egg? So start with the egg and with the dry ingredients, and the dry ingredients are half teaspoon salt. I use a little bit less than half teaspoon because it's sea salt. I'm going to pour that in there. Jeremy just got home from working. Not work, because he doesn't actually have a child. Shh! Don't tell anyone. Half teaspoon of dry mustard powder. And 2 pinches, says Alton Brown, of sugar, but basically 2 pinches is less than a 1/4 teaspoon, so, I mean, you know. And whiz those dry ingredients in the egg to get things started. And then he calls for wet ingredients too. And you can make mayonnaise with less than, you know, I saw online like a recipe for 3 ingredient mayonnaise or something, and like that's fine, but I feel like this helps improve the flavor. Makes it really tasty and makes it taste more like the mayonnaise that I am used to. First wet ingredient is a tablespoon of white wine vinegar, and then 2 teaspoons of lemon juice. Fresh if you've got it, but you know, second best is also a good option. So, and at this point, we only put in half of that and save the rest for a little bit later. Now, the tricky thing with mayonnaise, and where people struggle, is turning it into a complete emulsion. That is where you get the fat molecules to be completely suspended within the liquid, and the fat in this, I like to use half. Generally, they recommend a light flavored oil, and but I like to use olive oil because olive oil is a healthy choice, and so. But olive oil is also really strong flavor, so I only like to use half olive oil, and then I use half something else, like canola oil, but preferably a non-GMO canola oil. And his recipe calls for 1 cup. I've seen recipes for the egg, 1 egg or 2 yolks, call for anywhere from ½ cup to 1 cup. But I choose 1 cup, and I'll show why in just a minute. So the tricky thing is getting started. You can't just pour the oil in, or else it's never going to set up. It's not going to be emulsified. You have to start really slow and do it drop by drop, and that's really hard to do out of anything, even a pitcher with a little spout like this. It's hard to do. So my special trick is to use a dropper, and I just got this free from the pharmacy at the grocery store, and with a prescription one time. This is a baby medicine dropper. So I don't know, you could try it. Might give it to you for free, or I know they sell them there too for like $2.99 or something, but this was free from behind the counter. So it never hurts to try. And so that's my trick for getting a drop to drop, just to get started, until the egg starts to, and the oil starts to look emulsified in the egg and starts to kind of lighten up the color. So we're going to get started just kind of drip at a time. So it definitely has a lighter color, and I forgot, it's really important to start with a room temperature egg too, regardless if you're using one from the grocery store or one from the backyard. I'm going to keep going. At this point, I'm confident enough to start putting it in just a little drizzle at a time, with just from the cup. Now, you can tell it's starting to thicken up more than it was. I'm not about halfway yet. When I get halfway, I'm going to stop. And I'm going to add in the rest of my liquids from before. Loosen it back up just a little bit, and then at this point you continue to add as much oil until it gets the consistency that you want. And the key is, if it thickens up too much, you can add a little bit more of the liquids, the white wine vinegar or the lemon juice. And if it is too thin, then you keep adding more oil, and that doesn't make sense, but it's emulsification, and so as you add more oil, then it thickens up. So I'm going to add just a little more oil. Barely fitting in here at this point, but so the point is, that's how you make mayonnaise. And it took, like, you know, it doesn't take very long when you are in the habit of doing it. And this mayonnaise stands up on a spatula. People make mayonnaise. I saw someone on their blog that had mayonnaise and it was all liquidy because they didn't have a proper emulsion, and they're like, well, you know, this is just how homemade mayonnaise is. And no, this is how homemade mayonnaise is. It's plenty thick, and will stand up on a spatula. And someone said you have to use coconut oil to make it thicker, and coconut oil is a fine oil to use if you want, but you know, but it's not necessary to make thick mayonnaise. There's the mayonnaise, and made from backyard chicken egg and good ingredients, and I know it's in there, and there's nothing extra that I don't want in there, and that is why I don't buy mayonnaise from the store anymore. And now you're armed with the power to not buy mayonnaise from the store either.
should you so choose.